I'm posting this from a motel room 100 miles from my hometown. I can't go back. Not to my house, not to my old life. They call it a tragedy, a bizarre case of mass hysteria leading to a fatal compulsive eating disorder. They're wrong. It wasn't a disorder. It was a predator. A very specific, very hungry one. My name is David, and I was there for the last Thanksgiving my family ever had. This is the legend of the stuffer, and the one rule you must never break. Never, ever waste good food with an ungrateful heart. My family was the picture of suburban success. My father, a proud man who built his construction business for nothing, believed in abundance. My mother, a former beauty queen, believed in appearances. Our Thanksgivings were legendary. A 30-pound turkey, 4 different kinds of stuffing, pies from a professional bakery. It was a monument to excess, and every year, without fail, the same fight would happen. My father would insist on making a second, smaller turkey, just in case. And every year, most of it would end up in the trash, along with pounds of congealed sides and stale rolls. It was a ritual of waste, a silent testament to our gluttony and ingratitude. We never thought it mattered. We were wrong. This year was different. The economy had turned. Dad's business was on the rocks. The tension in the house was a 5th guest at the table, thicker than the smell of roasting turkey. The usual spread was there, but it felt forced, a desperate pantomime of prosperity we could no longer afford. The fight started over gravy. My younger sister Lily, a passionate environmentalist, finally snapped. "Why do we do this every year?" She yelled, gesturing at the groaning table. "It's obscene. Half of this is going in the garbage. It's disrespectful to the animals, to the planet, to everyone who doesn't have enough." My father slammed his fist on the table. "This is my house. I provide. If I want to have 2 turkeys, I'll have 2 turkeys. If I want to throw it all in the damn garbage, I will." It was a stupid, prideful argument. In a fit of rage, my father picked up the entire second untouched turkey, marched to the stainless steel trash can in the kitchen, and threw it in. The sound of the heavy bird hitting the plastic liner was sickening. "There!" he roared. Satisfied? A silence fell over the house. It was in that silence that we first smelled it. It started subtly, a rich, intoxicating aroma of rosemary and perfectly roasted meat. It was the smell of the turkey, but amplified, idealized, like the very essence of a feast. It was coming from the basement door. "Mom, are you cooking something else?" I asked. She shook her head, her face pale. The smell grew stronger, becoming cloying, overwhelming. It was no longer just appealing. It was a command. My stomach rumbled, a deep, painful cramp of sudden, insatiable hunger. Lily was the first to break. I need to eat," she mumbled, her eyes glazing over. She walked towards the kitchen, but bypassed the table laden with food and went straight for the basement door. "Lily, no!" My mother cried, but Lily opened the door and descended into the dark. The rest of us were frozen, caught between a growing, irrational hunger and a primal fear. And we heard it. A wet, rhythmic, chewing sound. And underneath it, a low, guttural, contented gurgle. It wasn't coming from Lily. I grabbed a heavy candlestick and ran down the stairs, my father close behind. The basement was dark, the only light coming from a single flickering bulb. And there it was, in the corner, the stuffer. It was a grotesque, pulsating mound of pale, doughy flesh. It was vaguely humanoid, but bloated to an immense size. Its skin stretched taut and shiny. It had no discernible face, just a circular maw at the top of its body, ringed with rows of small, sharp, triangular teeth that ground together constantly. Where its arms should have been were short, powerful stumps ending in sharp, chitinous claws, like those of a crab or a lobster, perfect for scooping and shoveling. Lily was on her knees in front of it. The creature was using one of its clawed limbs to shovel a thick grayish paste into her mouth. She wasn't resisting. Her eyes were wide with a mixture of terror and ecstasy as she gagged and choked, yet compulsively swallowed. "Get away from my daughter!" My father yelled, charging forward. The stuffer's maw stopped chewing. It seemed to notice us. It made a sound, a wet, clicking pop, and the smell of roasting turkey intensified, flooding my senses, making my mouth water uncontrollably. My father stumbled, his rage replaced by a confused, desperate hunger. I'm so hungry," he whispered. The creature ignored him and continued to feed Lily. Her stomach was visibly distending, stretching her skin. She started to cry, tears streaming down her face, but her jaw kept working, swallowing the disgusting slurry. "It's not food," she gasped between forced mouthfuls. It's everything we threw away." And I understood. This thing, the stuffer, was the embodiment of wasted sustenance. It was the ghost of every scrap we ever tossed without a thought. And now it was here to return it to us, to make us consume our own waste, our own ingratitude. My mother came down the stairs, saw the scene, and screamed. The sound broke the creature's focus on Lily. Its featureless head seemed to turn towards my mother. It made another wet click, and the smell changed. Now it was the rich, buttery aroma of my mother's famous peach cobbler, the one she took so much pride in. A look of blissful longing crossed her face. "My cobbler," she murmured, and she walked towards the creature, arms outstretched as if to embrace it. The stuffer welcomed her, using its other claw to scoop a glob of the same gray paste into her mouth. She didn't even gag. She smiled as she ate. My father, driven mad by the smell of his own favorite foods, charred steak, baked potatoes, lunged at the creature, not to fight it, but to get a share. The stuffer didn't discriminate. It accommodated him. I stood there, paralyzed, watching as my family was force-fed to death. The sounds were the worst. The wet, mechanical chewing of the creature, the choked gags of my sister, the blissful moans of my mother, and the animalistic grunts of my father. Their bodies swelled, their clothes tearing at the seams. And then, one by one, the sounds stopped. First Lily, then my mother, then my father. They just burst. It wasn't explosive. It was a terrible internal rupture, and they deflated, their bodies now just empty sacks surrounded by the putrid, undigested waste they had been forced to consume. The stuffer turned its maw towards me. The smell that hit me was the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches my mom used to pack for me in elementary school. A wave of nostalgic hunger washed over me. I wanted it. I needed it. I took a step forward. But in that moment, I saw Lily's dead, bloated face. I saw the terror frozen in her eyes. It broke the spell. I turned and ran. I ran up the stairs, out the front door, and I didn't look back. The police found the scene. They found my family, their stomachs grotesquely distended, filled with an unidentifiable, rotten organic sludge. The official cause of death was a bizarre, simultaneous acute gastrointestinal rupture. They think it was a suicide pact, a shared psychosis. They don't understand the economics of hunger. They don't know about the stuffer. It's still out there. It's always hungry. And it's attracted to the scent of willful waste and ungrateful hearts. So the next time you're about to scrape a perfectly good plate of food into the trash, stop. Think about the abundance you're disrespecting. Remember my family. Remember the sound of their bodies giving up. Because waste isn't just trash. It's an invitation. And the stuffer is always ready to RSVP. If you believe me, if you want to warn others, share this. Let my family's gruesome end be a lesson in gratitude. And for the love of God, don't waste your food.